Unfortunately, I am. Good evening, and welcome back to the One Celtic Fans View, Wednesday the 3rd of June. Doesn't look like we're getting a manager today, does it? It's, yeah. Doesn't look like we're getting a manager today. Doesn't look like we're getting much today because the screen has just went blank with the camera. Just give me 2 seconds. I'm going to have to close some things down. There was screens open and everything. I'm probably going to have to start this again, aren't I? It's Royal Rumble. Yeah, there we are. We're back. We are back. I think. Yeah, we are. We're back. And let's just wait for that to catch up, as they say. There we go. Yeah, it's back. Back. We are back. Yeah, that's it. Don't work with kids and animals and One Celtic Fans View. Anyway, good evening and welcome back to the channel. Anthony Joseph has, Sky put out a little something earlier. The latest, all that we know is pretty much what we've known for the last couple of days. Thank you.
Okay, I've got a bit of breaking news for you. And Celtic have held constructive talks with Robbie Keane over their managerial vacancy. And it's understood that further discussions are scheduled to take place this week. Celtic's principal shareholder Dermot Desmond is also due to speak with interim boss Martin O'Neill in the next 24 hours or so to establish his appetite for remaining at the club in some capacity. And Sky Sports News revealed on Monday that if O'Neill wants to remain as manager, the club are open to discussing a short-term contract. But if O'Neill does not want the job permanently, they'll enter discussions about a possible position in the football operations side of things for him, or an advisory and consultancy role.
An advisory and consultancy role. Will Martin O'Neill, has McKitten's got a channel? No, not yet. Not yet. Some folk know me too well. Martin O'Neill as an advisory role at Celtic. It looks like Celtic are going down the road of making maybe the most unpopular man in Celtic football's history, according to quite a lot of fans, the manager. If Martin O'Neill, he's quite a funny, witty, sarcastic old geezer, typical old man, isn't he? Do you think that Martin O'Neill will sit with Dermot and they'll talk about the troubles over the last year? And there was an interview by Robbie Keane when Robbie Keane was still at his last club. And Robbie Keane said in the interview he was totally focused on his job and he didn't care what people said about him. He was just going to keep on getting on with his job. And he didn't care what anybody says about him in the future. Is this something that was spoken about earlier on with Robbie Keane and Martin O'Neill? But because Martin O'Neill did such a fantastic job, do you think that Martin O'Neill might just go, do you know what? See those pesky fans that really pissed me off. Remember when Martin O'Neill said, see if you were one of those guys that threw the balls on the pitch, I want to have a word with you. Maybe Martin O'Neill's just going to go, I'm going to just piss them right off. Just going to give Robbie the job. And then I'll sit upstairs, just sit with the board, sit having a wee chuckle about it. Robbie Keane. Let me get, why is Keane so unpopular? Because he managed in Tel Aviv at one point. That is the only reason that he is unpopular with the Celtic fan base. Wow. I've just seen a headline, and it comes from a Celtic-minded. I'm not going to talk about it. Player profile. Let me just get his manager's profile, because a lot of people are saying, "What has Robbie Keane done?" What has Robbie Keane done? Manager profile. Robbie Keane has he's won the Hungarian Cup. He was a Hungarian Cup winner as a manager. He was a Hungarian champion as a manager. And this is what gets the Celtic fans' tits up. He was the champion of Israel. His team won the league in Israel, which a lot of people have understandably not happy with. When you look at his jobs, his coaching jobs, he was an assistant to Mick McCarthy, fantastic manager. He was assistant to Mick McCarthy back in 2018 for 3 games. He was an assistant manager at Ireland, assistant manager at Middlesbrough. He was then the assistant manager at Leeds. And from that job, the assistant manager's job at Leeds with Sam Allardyce as the manager, he then went on to become the manager of Maccabi Tel Aviv from 2023 to 2024. He then went to Hungary. He won the league, his first managerial job, and he wins the league. I don't know what the football was like in Israel. I don't know how many teams they have in Israel. Don't know how competitive the league may be in Israel. But when it's a Tel Aviv team, it wouldn't surprise me if they kind of held every other team by gunpoint to make sure that they won the league. Keep politics out of football and that. And then they went to Hungary. And he was 53 games as manager in Israel. He was 82 games as a manager in Hungary. In managerial terms, he has been a success, or whether you like it or not. He has been a success. And it's that kind of success that Celtic trying to pick up on young, aspiring, upcoming managers. It's just very, very difficult for a lot of fans to really. If it had been anywhere else, I think if Robbie Keane had went anywhere else, all okay? What is it? Huh. Totally threw me there. I need just a separate room, just a studio. It's all I ask for in life. Robbie Keane, I think if he had managed anywhere else, it'd have been fine. Celtic fans would have welcomed him with open arms. Going to jump into the comments because I want to get quite a lot of opinions on this one this evening, because we're all signs, unless Martin O'Neill turns around and goes, do you know what, I'm going to do the job. I am going to do the job, but wait, we shall see. Vamos. Yeah, vamos. Celtic would not know the meaning of vamos if it came up and scalped them in the coupon with £4 million. Oh, by the way, Celtic have just received €4 million today. Well done, the board. Well done. Yes. Pat yourself on the back. Transfer window's not really even opened yet, but yes, you've raised £4 million. We need to note this because this is the first £4 million of the transfer window is heading to Celtic. And the Polish team have collapsed in the negotiations with Michael Nicholson. They did try to get Lewis Palmer for peanuts. They ended up paying the £4 million that €4 million, £3.5 million that Celtic wanted for Lewis Palmer. So yeah, big shout out to Lewis Palmer for costing Celtic £3.5 million and Celtic getting £3.5 million. So it's £3.5 million is in the bank already. Had your season ticket money. If that was down a little bit, it's cool. They've just sold a player for £3.5 million. Listen, they must have plenty of money in the bank. They allowed Stephen Welsh to rip up his contract and depart the club for free, so he can go and find himself another club due to services rendered. The fact that he got Motherwell to beat Hearts and Rangers in the running. Fair play to them. Keane's only been a football manager for 2.5 years. Is this a bad joke? Well, I get what you're saying, but how many times have Celtic went to go for a manager that's up and coming, and you know the Bodo Glimt manager, for instance, they've tried. I don't think they tried very hard, but they've been linked with the Bodo Glimt manager for some time. At one time or another, Celtic will have to bite the bullet and get one of these up and coming managers early on. Robbie Keane could be one of those really successful ex-players that turns out to be a really successful manager. There's not many of them do it. You know, Robbie Keane was a decent player, but trying to put a positive spin on it, the fact that he's looking for a 3-year contract, the fact that allegedly he wants to bring back Scott Brown, Stephen Glass, and he wants to keep Johnny Hayes, all in his backroom staff. It does say that they're looking at it with a longer term, you know, at least a 3-year stint. I'm going to say it. I mean, we're at that point now where we've won. We're on the downward slope to 10 in a row. We're at hump day. Are Celtic about to hump the fans well and truly? And it is hump day. It's Wednesday. You know, we're at the hump of 10 in a row. That halfway point. Let's jump into some more comments. Martin should decide he deserves to make the choice. Will he stay and will he be upstairs? What have they been doing for the last few weeks? No idea. If it's Keane, it will be a disaster. Willow, and not Willow Flood. There's no after that. Martin O'Neill has turned the manager's job down. Oh, has he? That's what the report last weekend. And then Keane came in the picture as a front runner. Don't think Keane is ready for the Celtic job. What's the chat about Martin O'Neill going to an English club? That was nothing. It's bullshit. That came from TalkSport, and TalkSport doing what TalkSport does best: waffle. Unless TalkSport gets Martin O'Neill on the phone. It's all speculation. Simon Jordan said on TalkSport today that, you know, there's a couple of jobs. Marco Silva has just left Fulham after 5 years in charge. What's to say that if Martin O'Neill does not take the Celtic job, what's to say that a Premiership club could come in for him, like Fulham? Fulham are not coming in for Martin O'Neill. Not a chance. Not a chance. Absolutely no chance. So it was all just about TalkSport trying to create some headlines, and they've done it. You've got to say that they have succeeded in their attempt. So yeah, he's not turned down the job, and he's not going to an English club. Don't think Keane is ready for the Celtic job. Why do you want Keane? Not going to ridicule you. Just want to know. I don't want Keane. Oh, you're talking about CFC Jack, a bag of cans. If he's successful, I will laugh at some of yous, says CFC Jack. I can tell you the only thing that would be constructive about Robbie Keane is telling him to get to think. Keane shouldn't be considered. And why is he so unpopular? Because Martin is. I wish it was Kudson. Kudson is. This is a manager that's at a club that's stable. You know, maybe Martin O'Neill upstairs in the club, sitting with a bottle of booze. Oh, we needs 50 Cent and all that malarkey in the house. I think that if Martin O'Neill is to take the job upstairs to kind of not so much look over the shoulder of Robbie Keane, but it looks as if they want to keep Martin O'Neill on either a paid position or an advisory position, which would mean big chunks of cash heading Martin O'Neill's way. I think he would be well chuffed with that. Doesn't have to come in and do anything on a weekly basis. It's blazing in Puerto Rico. It is that hot. Martin O'Neill's director of football and Keane will be the boss. It's looking like it. The Tel Aviv shouldn't really matter as it's petty. He has got further than us in Europe than we have in years. It's true. You know, he did take his unfancied Hungarian team quite far in Europe. And I think that that's what the board looks at as well. You know, it's the board will look at a manager who has had some kind of success at a European level. And you've got to say, Celtic have been a shambles in Europe for years. Absolutely years. But we'll wait and see. No more ex-players as manager of this club. Keane just feels like a Lennon type move. Can he be asked for that? Who cares where Keane managed? If O'Neill doesn't want it, give it to him. It's interesting because there was a lot of people jumping on the video from yesterday saying that, well, there was a poll on another channel and 95% of people don't want Keane. Yeah, there was a poll on this channel and just goes to show you. Pure nonsense disliking an Irish manager who also played for us purely because he coached in Israel. See, this is where it does split a lot of the fans. He's unpopular with me because it's a silly appointment, bad timing, bad fit, bad personality, has a CV that's debatable at best. Oh, interesting. A CV that's debatable. Assistant manager of Ireland, assistant manager at Middlesbrough under Neil Warnock, assistant manager at Leeds under Sam Allardyce. Two big names in English football, you would agree? So you would learn something over that 2018 to 2020 under Neil Warnock. He worked under Mick McCarthy before that as an assistant manager from 2018. Some experienced managers he's worked with. Yeah, and you're not assistant manager to Mick McCarthy, Neil Warnock, Sam Allardyce if you don't know what you're talking about in football terms. Let's get it talking about football. Let's try and think of it from a football sense, just for half an hour, if anything. Do you know, you will learn a lot from Mick McCarthy. He's been and done it over the years. Mick McCarthy, he's been in the game a long time. Neil Warnock, been in the game a long time. You're going to learn a lot from him, working with him on a daily basis for 2 years. And then Sam Allardyce, he worked with Sam Allardyce for a year as assistant at Middlesbrough. Well, he didn't. It was 4 games. Yeah. Jonathan Woodgate was 41 games. Neil Warnock was 1 game. Mick McCarthy was 10 games. Sam Allardyce was 4 games. And then he was assistant manager at Leeds. And then he went on to be his own man in 2024. Isn't that more of a football education that puts him in? I mean, talking about a bad CV, I think if you've been an assistant manager, there's a lot of people spoke about John Kennedy being Celtic manager because he'd been assistant to so many managers. You know, from a football perspective, I can't honestly say that that's a bad CV. You know, he's learnt his trade. You know, you could say he's worked his way up, and when he's been given the opportunity, he's proved that he can get teams to win. It's a difficult one. It is a difficult one, but I would definitely say that it's not a CV that's debatable at best. I don't know. I would say that was. Don't know. We'll wait and see. I like Kieran, but I don't think he's ready to manage Celtic yet. When are you? What made Neil Lennon ready to manage Celtic? If Keane isn't ready to manage Celtic after the experience he's gained in over 6 years, 7, 8 years in football management, what's the difference between that and Neil Lennon? Neil Lennon had no experience whatsoever. None. But Neil Lennon was welcomed with open arms. It's an interesting one. No one is saying Keane can't do a good job. We prefer Martin O'Neill decides the next gaffer is not for himself. The board are morons. What if Martin O'Neill gives Robbie Keane his blessing? Which I think he will. What if Martin O'Neill comes out in public and says, yes, I'm going to take the advisory role at Celtic and I fully back Robbie Keane? What do you then think of Martin O'Neill? I've just asked the question because Martin O'Neill could be the kingmaker. Martin O'Neill is the kingmaker. Martin O'Neill could say, yes, I'll take the job for a year, or no, I would like Robbie to take the job. I'll take the job upstairs in an advisory position. Just pay a certain fee into my bank every month. I don't need to come up and worry about. This is why the advisory role would be way more beneficial to Martin O'Neill than stepping into the dugout. He gets to stay down beside his wife. He gets to stay near his family. He doesn't have to go into the training pitch every morning. He doesn't have to stay in a hotel, which he did for 6 months, nearly. He can still have a say at Celtic. And he can still advise Celtic on an advisory role. There's so many positives for Martin O'Neill to take up the post as kingmaker to Robbie Keane. And if Martin O'Neill was to come out and say, yeah, Robbie's my man, Robbie's the person I want as Celtic manager, where does that leave the Celtic fans that are against Robbie Keane but want Martin O'Neill? Do you then go against Martin O'Neill's wishes? Maybe that should be a poll. Tell me in the comment section, if Martin O'Neill does make Robbie Keane king of paradise, as they say, what's your feelings towards Martin O'Neill then? Anyway, the fans would have a problem with them being in Israel and blah blah blah. I just wish they would get on with it. We can never do anything normal. No, this is true. No to Roy Keane. Yeah, I wish it was Roy Keane. Who would want to success manager? I'm saying Keane can't do a good job. The foundation isn't there. People won't get behind him. It would be worse than Nancy, worse than Russell Martin. It's a bomb site in construction, says a bag of cans. No to Robbie Keane. Interesting. Martin O'Neill came in as an experienced manager and showed how it's done. Let's just talk about football. I'm going to miss out all the Palestine stuff. I want to try and talk about them. I hope there's a late U-turn and Desmond goes, Yaya Toure. Could be like company at Bayern. I was talking to a guy today who is a Feyenoord fan, and he's a lot older than me, and he stays out here, and he says that Feyenoord are a complete shit show just now, been a shit show this season, due to the fact that they've got a manager that was a great football player, but just doesn't really cut it as manager, and I don't know where I'm going with that, but so yeah, let's move on from that. I'm reading comments at the same time. Celtic are meant to be a club open to all. Yes, very true. Gary Robson's whoever becomes Celtic manager, we will need to get behind them. This is true. Egyptians and Americans. Oh Jesus God! I'm going to just stick to football matters. It's a gamble. Any manager is a gamble. Ex-players that went on to be good manager. Neil Lennon. Martin O'Neill, Ange, Pep, etc. The Fife detectorists. I hope that if Keane gets the job, he manages to do the job and get results. I'm sick of politics getting brought into football. Yes, but it's not football. I'm sure it's just Huns calling for Keane at this point. Why? He was a slayer of Huns as a player, and I think that I would give St. Martin another year. Martin O'Neill will protect Keane from the minority. Well, from the minority. According to people online, it's a majority that are against Robbie Keane. Get Pep on the phone. It's not going to happen. Let me just do a little quick update. I wish folk would stop putting out these stupid headlines. Martin O'Neill has not been linked with any job in England. You've now got Celtic fan media putting out crazy. Martin O'Neill backed for unexpected Premier League job. Simon Jordan mentioned it on TalkSport. And all he said was, why wouldn't Martin O'Neill be in the running for a job such as Fulham? It's unbelievable. And now you've got Celtic fan media running with Martin O'Neill linked with English Premier job. He's not been. Makes you wonder if this is actually worth doing at times. I don't know, just all the nonsense that's going on just now. Roy Keane has proven that he can win trophies. Never watched his hungry side. Did they not have a good run in Europe? Yeah, they had a good run in Europe. Wilfred Nancy got his team to the American version of the Champions League. That's what Celtic want. Don't know, someone that can take us with not a lot of money. It's impossible to put a positive spin on anything to do with Robbie Keane regarding being Celtic manager, says Paul Baird. Wilfred Nancy won trophies? Yes, he did. Unfortunately, Andrew, there is a big chunk of our support, and allegedly there was 95% of people that was on a Celtic State of Mind yesterday afternoon said no to Robbie Keane because of that. Breaking news, Martin O'Neill is manager of Fulham. No, he is not, Danny. Breaking news, Celtic fans are fucking having a meltdown over nothing. Jesus. Right, let me see what McCown has to say to it. Who cares? Anthony Joseph. Not a job. Not a job. Not a job. And it's usually this time of night that Celtic, if Celtic were going to make an announcement tonight, it's usually about this time of night that they do their announcements, isn't it? Unless it's a fan announcement. And they do that at 7 o'clock, not 6 o'clock. But there is going to be no Celtic management announcement this evening. If it was, the media would kind of be like, and the land of Twitter would be adorned with rumours. And it's not. There's a video of Roy Aitken. Dalglish, 1977. Dalglish outside the box. Boom, goal. Oh, that's what we're talking about today as well. Players, the modern football players. The guy that I was talking to today used to be a physio for a football team, and he was talking about the modern players. They still do not know what damage they're doing to the brain. In Holland, there is a number of players. There's quite a high number of players that played in the 1980s are getting Alzheimer's. Are showing signs of Alzheimer's. Just something different in football. That's what you'd like to talk about. Martin O'Neill has worked with Keane in Ireland. Don't be too surprised if they two are working together. Exactly. No way Keane and Bruni have the chemistry. Bruni does not look up to Keane the same way as he does Martin O'Neill. They're very good friends. Let's just put it that way. They are very, very good friends. Not sure about Keane, but if he's our next manager, we have to get behind him 100% and see where he takes us in the upcoming season. United. Will we be united? The board will try and do worst setup possible. Say no to Keane. Say no to drugs. Me as well. Paul, do you miss Rogers yet? if you if you thought that Paul's weekly, daily, get Rogers out of my fucking club was bad. Oh, just wait till 5 p.m. Friday. Just wait till 5 p.m. Friday. People saying that his CV is debatable, but people wanted the Motherwell manager and comparing Keane has a better CV. Oh, there's very true. I very doubt any fans watch Hungarian League football. And he got them way further in Europa. Do you know? Anyway, Martin O'Neill won us the double in half a season. Keane will need time to rebuild the squad. Martin O'Neill will need time to rebuild the squad. Anybody that comes in, Martin O'Neill knows how to win already. Martin O'Neill has lost 14 players or something already. We know that he's lost 8, 9, 10. Martin O'Neill has and if you want to talk about Martin O'Neill and his choice of player in transfer windows, just go back to the last transfer window and ask yourself, does Martin O'Neill have the authority at Celtic Park? If they were not, as has been suggested, if they were not his first choice players, if they were not his second choice, what does that say about Celtic going forward? Let's keep Martin O'Neill, and we know that Martin O'Neill will be a pushover with the board. And he won't get his first choice players. He'll settle for second, third choice players. And he'll not play them to prove a point to the board. Is that where we really want the club going forward? That's backwards. If Keane's backed by the board, then why not back Keane? To be fair, Jens was experienced in Scotland. Well, that'll do him well in Europe, won't it? I just think that Celtic lack alternatives. So, Keno it is. They do that. Celtic soccer crew versus big moustache crew. Beat Street. Breakdown. Check it out. So is Craig Bellamy. Yes, Craig Bellamy, but he wants to stay at Wales. And even though Celtic may try and talk, I can't see it happening. I think it's all just talk. As Big Jack said, we turn up to support our team. It makes you wonder what people like that would think of the current situation at Celtic. I think that we need to stop for a minute. And as hard as a decision as it is, I think that we need to all sort of realise that we're riding the crest of a wave. Things aren't as bad as what they seem at Celtic. Last season was our worst season since Tony Mowbray. Give yourselves a scalp about the... Gotta wake up and smell the coffee. Last season, managerial-wise, we hadn't had a bad season like that since Tony Mowbray. We still won a double. The team has been decimated. The team was decimated with long-term injuries. The team was decimated with players leaving. The team was infiltrated by substandard players, but we still won a double. And now we're getting our knickers in a twist because a manager managed somewhere else. What if he goes on? I'm at the point I'm not even going to talk about Robbie Keane, and I'm hoping it's looking like it will be Robbie Keane. But I tell you one thing, it is going to be so the fans will blame the board. What if, right, here's a scenario. Martin O'Neill goes, fuck damn it, I'm not wanting to fucking listen to their shite every week. Do you know, the press conference were monotonous as fuck. You sit and talk to these fucking idiots in the media, same pish every week. I can't be arsed with that shite at my age. Would you do it? You didn't even fucking speak to them at all. Why should I have to do it on a weekly basis? Robbie's young enough. He's like, what are if a duck's back with him? Get Robbie Keane in to do the job. Martin O'Neill's sitting upstairs. Robbie Keane gets the manager's job. Celtic spend £45 million on players with Robbie Keane as manager. Celtic go on and win the treble and do reasonably well in Europe. How many people at the end of the season are still going to be saying, there will be a percentage, I will say that, but if it's 95% of people on a certain channel want to say, get Robbie Keane to fuck, how many of them, if we win a treble, if Celtic spend £45 million on transfers and we do well in Europe for a change, how many of them will be saying, Robbie, get the fuck, Robbie, get the fuck, Robbie, get the fuck. Nobody. There will be people that will still say he's not a manager for me. I get that, but you'll still celebrate the team winning. And by celebrating the team winning, you're celebrating Robbie Keane as manager. You can't have it both ways. Don't know. It's let's just hope that they pull a rabbit out of the bag, or maybe Robbie Keane just says nah. It's not looking likely though, is it? Most experienced manager in the SPL, right up there, is Derek McInnes. I go get him because of his experience in Scotland. Ha ha. No. I'm hopeful he never gets the opportunity. Well, here's hoping. Whoever get the job will have to manage at least 60 million of players going in and out. I think it could be. I think the turnover could be around about. I think the turnover in players will be around about 100 million. Players going out, roughly about 40 million, 50 million. Players coming in about 45 million. We'll wait and see. If O'Neill gives Keane the blessing, I will too. Right, let me jump into some of them. I think you're right. If Celtic don't get an up-and-coming manager like Keane, they go elsewhere. They go somewhere else. They go to the Premiership. Won't even consider Celtic. These are appointments that are high risk and high reward. We've been asking the Celtic board to get a manager like the Bodo Glimt manager. You know, someone that's up and coming, that's going to get a big team one day. Kuchen doesn't really need to leave Bodo Glimt because he's in the Champions League every year. He's doing well in the Champions League. He doesn't get to spend a lot of money, but he's winning the league, he's doing whatever, and he's getting a good run in Europe. That's all a manager wants. That's all that fans want. That's all that a board wants. I'm not saying that Robbie Keane is the right appointment. I'm not saying Robbie Keane is particularly a person that I would want to have at Celtic. But if it is likely, the scenario gets played out that Martin O'Neill comes walking into Celtic Park with his arm round his shoulder with Robbie Keane and sits down to have a press conference, I bet Martin O'Neill says, see the fans that want to talk about stuff that's nothing to do with football, tell them to come and speak to me. What do you do then? I ain't going fucking speaking to Martin O'Neill. He'd slap me, eh? Seeing the size of his hands, man. Fucking Martin O'Neill would do you in. Also means Martin O'Neill will step in if Keane blows it. I don't think Keane will blow it. All this talk won't be that if Robbie Keane comes in and wins the treble. And what if he draws to St Mirren, loses to Falkirk? First 2 games. We'll be right back where we started last time. Well, I don't know. Martin O'Neill may lose games beginning of the season. May not have been backed by the board the way that they want. Protest balls in the pitch, all that crap. That's what we'll be back to. It's daft. Well, Martin O'Neill said, if you were one of those people that threw the balls on the park, I want a word with you. That's not someone that's against the board. That's not someone that is going to back the fans before the board. Be careful what you wish for. You know, it's all saying, yes, let's get Martin O'Neill in. Martin O'Neill, the biggest yes man ever to Dermot Desmond, said yes to him twice coming back. He didn't do it 100% for the love of the club. He did it out of respect for Dermot Desmond. Have you ever thought of it like that? He did it because he loves Celtic. He did it because he has respect for Dermot Desmond. And he feels that he owes Dermot Desmond. Because without Dermot Desmond, he never went on to have the career that he had. If Martin gives his blessing to Keane, I think, like me, many fans will find Keane unacceptable. Anyone who blesses, we bless. I'd like to hope that Martin O'Neill is more wise than that. Oh, so naive. Grugan, it's he played some no bad football in Hungary. John would be very disappointed. As long as it's not King Kenny and John Barnes' gig. No, can't see it. No matter who's the manager, it's not only the result that we will get everyone on side. If Keane comes in and does a great job, it's going to be Keane, if you like it or not, troops. 100% says Williman. I think so. Bring back the three amigos. Yeah, because the Celtic owner at the time loved them, didn't he? He loved the three amigos. He couldn't wait to get rid of the three of them. We should all follow Martin O'Neill into battle. The saviour. The battle will be with the fans. Just saying. Especially if he's upstairs. What's wrong with having the best of both worlds, Martin O'Neill and Keane? It's an explosion, really, to happen. Never mind fireworks. Yes, it is afternoon. Well, it's 1 p.m. here. What's the crack? Says Irishman in Porto. How's Toronto? How's Toronto looking? Is it getting? Do you feel the buzz for the World Cup yet? Let's change the subject completely, mate. Let's just change the subject. Everybody's having a meltdown about Keane. Keane's on the verge of becoming Celtic manager, and everybody's like, "No, fuck that shit." So how's Toronto? Let's just have a conversation. Just save my soul. Yeah. Are they feeling the buzz for the World Cup yet? The Huns are wanting Keane in probably because we are too split about it. Yeah, and they will think that will, hurt Celtic. Jesus God, Gary Robertson. Why the hell would you go there on holiday? David Castle's got the decks out. If Keane's in the Green Brigade, the Green Brigade are out before Christmas. Well, if it'll not just be the Green Brigade then, because it will be the boys' ultras too, because the boys' ultras wanted to be in 1-1-1-1. I'm going to jump to the end of the comments, unfortunately, because I'm going to jump ship. Doesn't look like there's going to be any announcement imminent. We could stay on, and still got time to trying to get to 27,000. We've got to 26,896. We needed 104. And I bet you, looking at the stats, there's been over 2,500 people on. I bet there's 104 of yous out there that only subscribe to the channel that's watched this video this evening. Come on, do a favour and let's get us to 27,000. We need something to celebrate. If we're not going to celebrate, if you're not going to give me the liberty to celebrate the next Celtic manager, at least give me the liberty of getting to 27,000 and give me something to smile about. Jesus, come on, madre mia. It doesn't matter who we get as manager. They don't back if they don't. If the board don't back them, we're in trouble. We need to back whoever the new manager is at 100%. Get used to it. Keto. Say God help us. Jesus. I do have to start watching Quentin Tarantino movies as well then. So I can't watch Celtic. Oh my God, honestly. We need a rebuild. Who's better at that appointment? Ooh, Neil Clearly. Wait a minute here. Right. Martin O'Neill. Let's talk about Martin O'Neill and modern football tactics. His last transfer window. Martin O'Neill stood at the end of the cup final and he said, I don't agree with some of the tactics. I don't agree with some of the tactics that Fozzie and Maloney want us to play. Modern football stuff. He doesn't get it. Is that putting us in a good stead for the future? Football's not hard. It's a game. Bunch of dudes, ball, best team wins. Best team that puts in hard work, proper hard work on the pitch. Players that pass the ball to the feet of a teammate, right to the feet, not behind them, not in front of them. The ball right at him. Would Robbie Keane, Stephen Glass, Scott Brown, and Johnny Hayes be the backroom staff to have Celtic playing fast attacking football? Johnny Hayes was a whippet on the wing. He will bring out the best in any winger at Celtic because he knows how to be a winger. Scott Brown, best midfielder by far in years that we've had at Celtic. Knew how to dominate the midfield, knew how to control the midfield, knew how to read the game. You're talking about people with a wealth of experience coming in to manage the club. Experience that goes all the way back to Gordon Strachan. Experience that goes back to Martin O'Neill. Experience of Brendan Rodgers. To name just a few fantastic managers that these people, if selected, and if they get the job, are going to call all that experience in from. We've been asking for fast attacking football for such a long time at Celtic. We got fed up of the side to side passing crappy football. It's going to be an interesting summer, that is for sure. It's Keane, it's decided already. Just reading some of these comments. If it's Keane, it won't last anyway. It's too fragile. A couple of losses and he's out. Radical hatred from outside will be brought in, intensified, and that will spill into something bloody nasty. That's the kind of chat that gets you in your door knocked in by the coppers. That has nothing to do with me, big brother, watching in the sky. But that kind of chat does get your door kicked in for coppers, mate. So I would watch what you're saying online. A bag of cans. Fuck all to do. I never said that. He's an arsehole telling you fans to F off when they got asked for an autograph when he's here as a player. I'm going to run through the comments. Will Keane be better than Barnes? I think so. Good mate, it's 1 p.m. here in Canada, nice and sunny. Well, it's you missed the heat wave. It was I was at Malaga Airport last night, and I got out the car at Malaga Airport, and it was boiling. Malaga Airport hit 41 degrees yesterday. What? Got out and I got out the car, and it was like you step into an oven. It was like just that warm, like oven air. I was like, what on earth? Anyway, I'm glad you're having a great time over in Canada. That was Fozzie's transfers in January. Come on. Are we really going to be playing pass the buck? That was Fozzie's transfers in January. Yeah, does Bellamy have the credentials for being Celtic boss? I don't think so. How can people turn a blind eye to get slaughtered 40 wells from your football club? Where does humanity go? It's right. I'm going to jump through the comments because, as expected, it is complete and utter mayhem in the. I'm dreading. I am dreading. 1, 2, 3, 4 knocking at your door. All right, tell me about it. Keane is the best candidate, says Mo. Mo, are you backing Keane to do the job? Martin O'Neill as a bridge upstairs. I think so. Keane has not won 6 titles in 7 years and a couple this year. No, but he has won his past 2 managers' jobs. Negativity for Keane is unreal. Would the negativity be as bad if Celtic had already... What the fuck is that? Wait a minute. What the fuck is that? Get out, you fucker. The fuck was that? It's that time of year, there's big, huge beasties flying about. I didn't even know what that was. I was no idea what that was. And I've lost it. The negativity for Keane. If the negativity would always be there for Robbie Keane. We've got 100 to go. Come on, 100 to go. Can we get some joy? At least get us to 27,000 before Robbie Keane comes in, so we can have that joyous moment where you could see me going, fuck it, yeah. At least give me one bit of happiness this summer, because I'm going to be watching Scotland in the World Cup, and that's going to be shite being Scottish. We're mastered by subordinate fucking. Anyway, our fans are making it personal. A fan voice on the board and all that. Yep. Listen to fans calling out each other today for which political parties they support. Crazy. Keep politics out of football. Jesus God. Yeah. Abada and Bitten never got this level of shit. Total madness. Ooh. Total madness. What happened there? Did we just have a glitch? Did you see that? A little glitch. Why not have Martin supervise Sean Maloney, Scott Brown and Fozzie for a season? Scott Brown won't come and work under Sean Maloney. Not a chance. But as I think we should make attackers run at defences and hate the chest football. Wouldn't Celtic under, and if it is to be Robbie Keane, Stephen Glass, Scott Brown and Johnny Hayes, if that was the case, don't you think that those, it's in their blood, isn't it? It's, well, even looking at Scott Brown and Johnny Hayes at their time at Celtic, dominance football, beating everyone, high scoring teams. Don't you think that they would want to help Robbie Keane bring that to Celtic? Complete change of formation. Maybe go to a 3-5-2. That'd be the kick up the arse that Celtic fans would love to see. If Robbie Keane comes in and goes, right, we're playing 3-5-2, this is what we're going to do. I want the players in, says to the board, this is what the changes we're going to make. Playing two up front. Total attacking football. What do you say then? Martin O'Neill, if he wants it, has to take it. But what if he doesn't want it? Robbie Keane was manager of the club a couple of years ago. Do you know, it's not as if he was manager of the club last week. He's not managed in... He has been at his previous club. He managed in Tel Aviv from the 24th of the 1st... No, sorry. The 1st of the 7th. The 1st of July, 2023, until the end of June 24. This is just going to get bonkers. Honestly, completely bonkers. I don't think that. Do you know what? You think that you see it all, and you hear it all when you're sitting at this side, and you see all the comments coming in, and you see all the opposing views, and you see all the opinions. But I think that the meltdown that we're about to, that Celtic Rangers fans must be pissing themselves laughing. It's like they think that we were handed the league. We've won the league with the shittiest Celtic team ever, and we're about to go on to You're about to go on to fucking SpaceX rocket type meltdown if you believe everything that you read online. It's bonkers. Absolute bonkers. And especially at a time when the club is all going on about unity. Abada did get hounded out. No, he never. Do not listen to the press. He never got hounded out at all. Bitten was in Abada's ear telling him to leave. Yeah, it was Bitten. There was nothing about it. I can remember an outcry when Bitten posted pro IDF stuff on Instagram, which is just to make it even better for me, mate. I thought you were trying to help me by changing the agenda of the chat, talking about Toronto and World Cup stuff. I need to go and have a lie down after this. It's not good for my mental. We need 99. We need 99. Give me some ice cream and a big 99 stuck on top. Oh Jesus. He did. Jim Lister, stop throwing names out there. It's down to Robbie Keane. Don't know. It's Scott Brown. If daft at times, stupid working with Sean Maloney. He kens where he will learn. Um, what exactly would Scott? No disrespect to Sean Maloney, but what exactly would Scott Brown learn from Sean Maloney? Nothing. Not a thing. Not a thing. I'm going to say. I think that Scott Brown has worked under enough real good managers as his time as a player. I don't think they would learn anything from Sean Maloney. Going to be perfectly honest. Don't think he'd learn anything from Sean Maloney. Keane announced tomorrow. Oh God, I'm dreading it. I'm dreading it. I am actually dreading it. Um, if you put Palestine first, then Bolt. Jesus God. So if Bruni Hayes visited Keane and Glass, so the fans despise them too. Crazy. I mean, they didn't. He didn't visit them. He visited. Oh God, it's getting worse. Fuck them. The league's in the bag. Um, fuck Brown. He's just not qualified. Neil Lennon wasn't qualified. Jesus. He'd learn how to scrape his arse come off a double decker bus. Um, yeah, Mr. Squeak, you're getting the last comment. Paul, you're not getting the last comment. Mr. Squeak gets the last comment. Remember the saying, divide and conquer. And it's that simple. What it feels like is happening with our support and the board. At a time when the Celtic support, Paul Paul Bear does get it. Just one last thing before you go, Baz. Say no to Keane. Say no to Keane. It is crazy that at a time where the board want to bring us together, the board want for the best. They want the best for the football club. Um, the fans want the best for the football club. It was always going to be a trying summer. It was always going to be a summer where the fans are intensely watching every action that the board makes with the biggest magnifying glass ever. It's like every single Celtic fan is Inspector Clouseau and they're watching every single thing. I just hope that whatever the decision that the board do make this week, and if Martin O'Neill does come out and give his full blessing to Robbie Keane as manager, I just hope that we can somehow, and I hope that the board stand by their word and say that they've listened and that they get players in. And if it is to be the backroom staff that it is, I think that it will be a style of football that hopefully can entertain the fans. Because I think if once the team entertains the fans, hopefully the noise of the manager may slip away. It won't completely. And I fully respect every single person that will be against Robbie Keane from the beginning of his tenure until then. People like Paul Baird on the channel that were 100% did not want Brendan Rodgers back at the club in any terms. And I think that's what makes Celtic fans unique in a way. As a Celtic fan and as a club, having fans from so many different backgrounds. But there's one thing for sure. A club open to all has been questioned this week. And maybe that's something to think about. I shall see you in the morning, because I'm going to go and chill out and have a barbecue and just not even think about anything Celtic at all. Purely for my own sanity more than anything. And then just hope that Celtic don't make an announcement that it's Robbie Keane tonight and I've got to come back on. Let's face the music and dance. Have a fantastic evening, Celtic fans, wherever you are, all around the world.